This is a video interview of Sue Huseby, who was in the service during the Vietnam War era too.
Yes. Good morning. Okay, you just listened to Bill, and now I get to tell the story, how it really was. First of all, let me tell you why we're here on Anderson Island. My brother lived out here for about 5 years, and his wife died. They moved off, and during that time we came out and explored, and eventually ended up buying a lot, so that when we retired, we would have some place for Bill to build our house. So we've been here about 12 years, something like that, and we love it. Anderson Island is our home. We love our friends and activities, and we love being here. So let me talk to you a little bit about my experience in the service. I enlisted. I was not drafted. They don't draft women. But my father was in the Navy. He's still with us. He's 96 years old. He's a World War II veteran. And he lives here in Lakewood. My brothers both enlisted in the Navy. And Bill enlisted in the Navy. That was my first preference. But my family didn't know I was even considering it. I'd been to college, and the family couldn't afford for me to finish, and I was just working in a restaurant or something at that time, and I was kind of lost. So I'm thinking I'm going to join the service. It was very patriotic at the time to join the service. And you probably wouldn't feel that when you saw the people come home from Vietnam. But after Bill got drafted, I explored the Navy. I had two preferences that I was looking at. I was looking at X-ray technician and dental assisting. And at the time, a lot of women were going in, and Navy did not have those programs available for me. So they didn't get me. I went to the Army, and they had the dental assistant program for me, and so I enlisted, unbeknownst to my parents. And when I came home, I just said, I just enlisted in the Army. I don't know if they were too happy because I had brothers in the service, and it was not a good time to be in the service. So I went to training in Alabama, Fort McClellan, Alabama. I went to dental training at Fort Sam in Texas, and was stationed at Fort Myer, Virginia, which is right there in Arlington Cemetery, right across the bridge from D.C. And I was stationed there because I had two languages at the time, and the only people that worked in that medical dental clinic were people or service people that had two languages, because at the time we were servicing all of the embassies in D.C. And so had to have a language that they could possibly use if they needed to. So I was there for the remainder of my 3 years. At the time, Women's Army Corps only went 3 years, and now it's general. I mean, it's just Army. It's not Women's Army. But at the time, I was in the Women's Army Corps, which meant I didn't carry weapons. I wasn't trained to carry weapons. So I worked there in a dental clinic, and what were some of my... I got to do just about everything in the dental clinic. For a long time, I worked as an assistant when I first got there, in general dentistry and oral surgery. And then they let me go into the main office and run the office for a while, which I kind of enjoyed. And I ended up as the X-ray technician. So I had the X-ray room all to myself. That was really great for the rest of my time. So I did a lot of Friday night X-rays of servicemen who'd been in fights in D.C. I don't know why they did that, but we wired jaws shut, that sort of thing. But I thoroughly enjoyed my time there. I had really good friends. My very best friend followed me through basic training, dental training, and then to Fort Myer. She lives in San Diego. We still see each other once in a while, and when we do see each other, we go back, and it's just like it was yesterday. And I suppose that's with everybody that has a good friend that's in the service. You kind of serve a special time in your life together, and you just don't forget that. So,
What were the two languages you know?
mine Spanish. I had 5 years of Spanish prior to going into the service, and I don't think I could use Spanish very much anymore. I think that if I was around it, it would come back really fast. But 50 years is 50 years. You don't remember those things unless you use them. So, and that was 50 years ago for us. Some of the events, I think the most memorable event that I did when I was at Fort Myer was 4th of July parade down, the street in front of the White House. They always have what is that street? I can't remember the street name. Anyway, I got to carry the flag for our patrol, our group of women, down Pennsylvania Avenue. There we go.
Was that a special flag or?
No, it was American flag.
Wasn't it?
And I remember it was the 4th of July. It was about 105 degrees, and it was awful. But you just didn't think it was awful. It was such a special occasion to actually get to do that. We got to see nothing else. Our free time, I got to explore all of the East Coast, up in New England and down through the Carolinas, because I was born in San Diego and raised in Washington. I never had seen the East Coast, so that was pretty special to me, just to be able to see that side of our country. I had good friends when I was in the service. I got promoted when I was supposed to get promoted, and left with really good feelings. I think I told you before that my parents didn't even know I was going to enlist, but of course they supported me while I was there. And I wrote to Bill.
Did the women aircrew also have reserve, or was it?
No, no reserve.
That was just the 3 years.
Just the 3 years, in and out, and I suppose I could have gone back into Army Reserve at that time, but I had a young man waiting for me to get discharged. He actually got out prior to me. He got out, I got out in November, and I think that he must have gotten out like 3 or 4 months earlier than I did. And my sister had gotten married in June, and I came home on leave in June, and he was out at that time. And he proposed to me then, and that's when I got my ring. And I went back all excited about counting the days down until I could get out and plan our wedding and get married after that. So they're all out of the service. I was probably the last one to get out, and everybody came home. What else? What else could I tell you? What else could I tell you?
Do you think was?
I was a dental assistant. I worked as a dental assistant after I got out for a while. After we got married, I worked until I had a child, and then gave it up and raised my kids. But we raised our kids in Kent. We both grew up in Kent, raised our kids in Kent, and that's where we came before we came here to the
I would
island.
have stayed there, I'm sure, but it got way too busy.
Oh yeah, Kent was unbelievable. I did not stay with dental assistant. I raised my kids until they went to no, Dave was still young, but I decided to go back to work and drove school bus. And
For 22 years.
yeah, I drove school bus for 22 years and loved that. But I guess if I jump into something, I really have a passion for it. And I love children. And I'd been with my kids all these years, and I thought, wow, I could go and get paid to do it. So I love that job. And Bill and I have been married for 50 years. And here we are on Anderson Island. I don't think I have anything else to
Great.
share.
Well, thank you. We appreciate you sitting down and sharing your part of your life with us.
Part of my life. And thanks for asking me to do this.
Thank you.